Justin Baldoni's team has issued a response in opposition to dismiss the New York Times.
How the New York Times actively vouched for the veracity of its false narrative.
We actually want all evidence to come out that's proper and appropriate evidence.
This is bad. Blake Lively just took the biggest loss yet in her messy lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. And this time, even her own legal team wants nothing to do with her.
So we kind of knew this was coming, didn't we? The collusion argument.
Because in a shocking and humiliating twist, Blake's own top lawyer just quit right in the middle of the case. And the reason why? It's not looking good for Blake.
I looked through every document, every email, every text message.
For months, she's been pushing her victim narrative, controlling the media, and making sure Hollywood stays on her side. But now, her story is falling apart, her legal team is backing away, and the truth is finally coming out. Because after the latest legal update, even Blake's closest allies are realizing she may not be as innocent as she wants everyone to believe. And the absolute worst part? Hollywood is watching all of this unfold. And they're staying silent. If Blake thought she could walk away from this lawsuit with her career and reputation intact, she just made the biggest miscalculation of her life.
You guys were complicit here. You guys were involved in this every step of the way.
For months, Blake's legal team has fought aggressively to keep her case alive. They have pushed for media coverage, framed Baldoni as the villain, and worked overtime to make sure the public saw Blake as the wronged woman. But suddenly, Meryl Conant, Blake's top lawyer, just quit the case and walked away. Excuse me, what? Why would a high-profile Hollywood attorney suddenly drop her biggest client right when things are heating up? Because, according to insiders, she realized something Blake doesn't want the public to know. She allegedly told sources that there was no solid foundation to Blake's claims. And when Justin Baldoni's legal team dropped a 170-page document exposing the flaws in her case, Conant knew this case was about to get ugly. She wanted out before it completely collapsed. And that is exactly what is happening. Because let's be real, when even your own lawyer doesn't want to stand by you, that says everything.
That's the whole point of a lawsuit, is you just start with allegations, and allegations are not evidence. They're just statements of fact that help establish this is the claim that I'm bringing.
Here's something that should have made everyone suspicious from the start. Blake's case was not just built in the courtroom, it was built in the headlines. From the very beginning, major media outlets painted Baldoni as the bad guy and Blake as the helpless, innocent woman who was finally speaking her truth. But now, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, just exposed a massive media cover-up. And let me tell you, this is worse than anyone expected, because according to legal documents, the New York Times was not just reporting on the case. They were actively working with Blake's PR team to push her side as fact. Blake's team was not just giving statements to the press, they were orchestrating the entire public narrative. Friedman revealed that Blake's PR team worked with the New York Times for months before publishing a sensationalist hit piece against Baldoni. And instead of reporting both sides of the story, the media only ran with Blake's accusations, without checking the facts. So let's be real here. Was this ever about justice? Or was this just another Hollywood power move, with Blake using her industry connections to destroy a man's reputation before the truth could come out? Because let's not forget, this isn't the first time she's done this. This is a pattern. And guess what? The New York Times is now being sued for it. This just went from a messy lawsuit to a full-blown scandal. Because if these allegations hold up in court, Blake Lively's entire lawsuit could collapse. This is no longer just about her word against Baldoni's. This is about whether she manipulated the media, used her Hollywood influence, and turned a legal battle into a PR stunt. And if that's the case, she is in serious trouble. Because guess what? Hollywood hates bad press. And right now, Blake Lively is officially a liability. And it's about to get even worse. Because if you thought this was bad, wait until you hear what's coming next.
Look, there's a lot of factual determinations that need to be made here, not legal determinations. And because there's factual determinations, you got to leave it to the jury. You got to give a jury the property.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're just saying, look, just let the facts decide. And the trier of fact in any case is going to be the jury. Unless it's a bench trial, then it's a judge. But this is not. This is a jury trial.
Blake Lively thought she could walk away from this lawsuit untouched. For months, she controlled the headlines, pushed her story through powerful Hollywood connections, and made sure the public only saw her side of things. She had one of the best legal teams in the industry. She had PR specialists working overtime to keep her image spotless. She had the support of major media outlets willing to publish anything she needed. But now, it is all falling apart because after the latest legal update, even her own team is backing away. Her top lawyer just quit in the middle of the case. Hollywood is staying silent, and behind the scenes, Blake's PR team is panicking because the second Justin Baldoni's legal team dropped 170 pages of evidence, the power balance shifted. And suddenly, Blake was no longer in control. This is not just a lawsuit anymore. This is a career-ending scandal. And if Hollywood decides Blake Lively is more trouble than she is worth, this could be the moment her career starts slipping away.
There's some bad things that happen here.
Let's talk about what actually happened. Meryl Conant, one of Hollywood's top attorneys, was leading Blake's case against Justin Baldoni. She has handled some of the biggest legal battles in the industry. She does not quit cases without a reason. So when she suddenly walked away from Blake's lawsuit, right in the middle of the case, that is not normal. Sources close to the situation are saying this was not just a random decision. Conant was under intense pressure from Blake and Ryan Reynolds to fight harder, push the case forward, and keep Baldoni completely shut out of Hollywood. But once Baldoni's team released hundreds of pages of legal documents, Conant realized something that Blake did not want to admit. There was no solid foundation to Blake's claims. The case was built on media manipulation, PR strategies, and industry influence. But in a courtroom, none of that holds up. And Conant? She was not going to risk her career fighting for a case that had already fallen apart, so she did the only thing she could do. She quit. And for Blake, that is a disaster. Because when your own legal team does not believe in your case anymore, that says everything.
They hired, meaning the Wayfair parties, hired a crisis PR manager who orchestrated a smear campaign against Lively.
Blake Lively's lawsuit was never just about the courtroom. This case was built on public perception. Blake's team made sure the media was on her side from the very beginning. They strategically released information, made sure Baldoni was blacklisted, and ensured that every major news outlet framed him as the villain. But now, the truth is coming out. Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, just exposed how deep the media manipulation actually went. And let me tell you, this is worse than anyone expected. According to newly released legal documents, the New York Times was not just reporting on the case, they were actively working with Blake's PR team to push her version of events. This was not journalism. This was a coordinated attack on Baldoni's career. Friedman revealed that Blake's PR team spent months working with journalists behind the scenes, ensuring that the first wave of media coverage would make her look like the victim. This is a major violation of journalistic ethics. And now, the New York Times is being sued for defamation because Baldoni's team has proof that they were not just reporting on the case, they were helping build it. And if this lawsuit moves forward, it is going to expose exactly how Hollywood manipulates the media to control public perception. And Blake, she is right in the middle of it. Because if this lawsuit proves that she pushed a false narrative to destroy Baldoni's career, it will be the biggest scandal of her career and the absolute worst. Hollywood is already backing away.
It wouldn't surprise me if that's what we see, but I do have to say that the arguments in this opposition were really good.
At the start of this lawsuit, Blake had the full support of Hollywood. Studios trusted her. Media outlets believed her without question. Powerful industry insiders kept Baldoni from defending himself. But now, that support is disappearing. Hollywood has gone silent. And let me tell you, in this industry, silence is the first sign that your career is in trouble. Because when Hollywood believes in you, they rally behind you. They defend you publicly. They make sure the media stays on your side. But when they start to realize you are a liability, they pretend you do not exist. Blake's industry allies are nowhere to be found. The A-list actresses who once supported her cause, silent. The major studios who stood by her, no comments. Even her closest industry friends have started distancing themselves. And Blake, she knows what this means. Because in Hollywood, loyalty only lasts as long as you are valuable. And right now, Blake Lively is losing value. Her lawsuit is falling apart. Her reputation is on the line. And Hollywood is quietly deciding whether she is worth keeping around. And if you think this is bad, just wait. Because the next legal update could destroy Blake's career for good.
Reynolds and Lively wanted Wayfair to issue a statement taking the blame for Lively's bad press.
For years, Blake Lively was untouchable. She had the media, the studios, and the biggest names in Hollywood on her side. She was the actress who could do no wrong. She could bend the narrative, spin the headlines, and control the industry's perception of her. But now, that power is disappearing. Her lawsuit is unraveling. Her lawyer just walked away. And worst of all, Hollywood has stopped defending her. Because after the latest legal updates, the industry is realizing she might not be as innocent as she wants people to believe. And for someone like Blake, that is a nightmare. Because in Hollywood, your connections are everything. And when those connections start cutting ties, you are done.
Baldoni's team drops a massive $400 million suit on Blake and a lawsuit against the New York Times. Then they publish 170 pages of perfectly documented texts and emails between all the parties that basically show Blake to be the aggressor. Here's the proof.
At first, Blake's team handled this lawsuit perfectly. They worked behind the scenes to make sure the media stayed on her side. They made sure Justin Baldoni was blacklisted before he could defend himself. They orchestrated a campaign to paint Blake as the victim. And for a while, it worked. But now, everything is backfiring. Because now that Justin Baldoni is fighting back, people are looking closer at Blake's version of events. And suddenly, her story has too many holes. Her claims are not lining up with the evidence. Her media narrative is falling apart. Her biggest industry allies are staying silent. And now, her PR team is scrambling. They are working overtime to clean up her image. They are pushing positive press to distract from the lawsuit. They are controlling her social media engagement to silence critics. But the public is not buying it because when a celebrity starts censoring their social media, manipulating headlines, and locking down their comments, it is a clear sign they are losing control. And for Blake, this is the first time she has ever been in this position. Because for the first time in her career, she does not have control of the narrative anymore.
Yeah, and again, at the same time, Nathan assembled a team that could dominate social media through full social account takedowns by starting threads of theories and,
Hold that thought.
here we go, generally working to change the narrative. So it's impossible to know how much they planted and how much of it originated organically. Well, wait a minute.
Hollywood is a brutal industry. If you bring in money, power, and influence, the industry protects you. It does not matter what rumors, scandals, or lawsuits you are dealing with. If you are profitable, you are untouchable. But the second you become a liability, Hollywood moves on. And right now, Hollywood is moving on from Blake, the A-list actresses who once defended her, Silent, the major studios who once trusted her, backing away, the producers who once fought to work with her, looking for other options. Because let's be real, this lawsuit is making her too messy. And in Hollywood, if you bring more drama than profit, you are replaceable. And that is what is happening to Blake right now. Because while she is dealing with legal battles, PR scandals, and an industry that is turning on her, Hollywood is already looking at who will replace her. And let me tell you, there is no shortage of younger, drama-free actresses ready to take her spot. Because let's not forget, Blake Lively is not the only one who can play the Hollywood cool girl. Sydney Sweeney, already leading movies that would have gone to Blake. Florence Pugh, becoming one of Hollywood's most bankable actresses. Anya Taylor-Joy, getting offers from the biggest studios. These women are younger, less controversial, and easier for Hollywood to work with. And if Blake keeps bringing in more lawsuits than box office numbers, the industry is not going to wait around for her to fix her image. They will move on. And right now, that process has already started. Because in Hollywood, once the industry decides you are replaceable, it is already too late. And if you think this is bad, just wait. Because Blake's next move could be her last chance to save her career.
You're making a factual assertion that these people did something, seizing on it and amplifying it.
Blake Lively has spent her entire career crafting the perfect Hollywood image. She was the effortlessly cool actress, the industry favorite, the woman who always seemed to come out on top. She built a reputation as someone Hollywood could trust, studios could invest in, and audiences would always support. But now, that image is crumbling. Her lawsuit is spiraling out of control. Her own legal team has abandoned her. And now, Hollywood is staying silent as she struggles to hold on to her power. This is no longer just about a messy legal battle. This is about Blake Lively's entire career being at risk. Because if she does not find a way to fix her image fast, Hollywood is going to leave her behind.
This suit against the New York Times is hard.
If Blake Lively still had the industry's full support, we would know by now. We would see powerful executives defending her. We would hear A-list celebrities speaking up for her. We would watch studios making it clear that she is still one of Hollywood's most valuable actresses. But that is not happening. Instead, Hollywood is staying quiet. And in this industry, silence is the first step to being canceled. Because let's be honest, Hollywood does not care about right or wrong. Hollywood cares about money, power, and public perception. And right now, Blake Lively is bringing in more problems than profit. Her lawsuit has turned into a full-blown scandal. Her reputation is being questioned. Her influence is starting to slip, and the industry has already started looking at her replacements. Sydney Sweeney, already leading the type of films Blake used to get. Florence Pugh, one of the most in-demand actresses in Hollywood. Anya Taylor-Joy, A-list directors are choosing her over established stars. Because here's the truth, Hollywood will always choose the easier option. And if Blake Lively keeps bringing lawsuits, scandals, and controversy to the table, the industry is going to choose someone else. And once Hollywood decides you are replaceable, you are done.
And that's what the New York Times is coming back and saying, look, we're not Blake Lively. We're not the ones making the allegation. We're just fairly reporting on what Blake is suing Justin and Wayfarer for.
Behind the scenes, Blake's PR team is working overtime. They know that if they do not fix her image soon, her career might not recover. So what are they doing? Trying to change the headlines by shifting attention to her next project, using social media to paint her as the victim, silencing negative press with strategic PR distractions. But here is the problem. None of it is working, because the public isn't buying it anymore. For years, Blake was able to control the narrative. She made sure every headline fit her version of the truth. She convinced Hollywood that her side of the story was the only one that mattered. But now, people are asking questions. They are looking at the evidence. They are noticing the inconsistencies. And worst of all, they are realizing that Blake Lively might not be the victim in this story.
A campaign to tarnish Lively after she alleged that Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director, and Jamie Heath, the producer, had engaged in misconduct while shooting the film.
Blake Lively is running out of time. She needs a major PR win. She needs Hollywood to rally behind her. She needs to prove that she is still a valuable name in the industry. But the problem? Hollywood does not wait for anyone. And right now, they are already looking past her. This lawsuit was supposed to be Blake's way of controlling the narrative. But instead, it is destroying everything she worked for. Because in Hollywood, once your power starts slipping, it is almost impossible to get it back. So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so you will be the first to get notified about the latest drama.